It's been estimated that up to 750,000 U.S. soldiers died during the Civil War. It's still the deadliest war in U.S. history, but those numbers could have been far higher were it not for some of the medical breakthroughs during the Civil War. Joining me is David Price. He's the director of the National Museum of Civil War Medicine. I know that there's a lot of misconceptions about medicine during the Civil War.
It's true. When folks come to see us, they're really surprised at the level of care that these soldiers were given. The biggest myth out there is that when an amputation was performed during the Civil War, that they were screaming and yelling and they were biting bullets, and these surgeons were just butchers looking to cut legs off. Nothing could be further from the truth. 95% of all operations in the Civil War were performed under anesthesia.
So they had anesthesia back then?
They had anesthesia then. It was invented probably 15 to 20 years prior to that. They used chloroform and ether.
What can visitors find when they come here? It's 2 stories, correct?
Yeah, it's 2 stories. It's bigger than you think. It's about 10,000 square feet of exhibits. We basically tell the story of the birth of modern medicine. Before the Civil War, there were only 40 hospital beds in one Army hospital in Kansas. The rest were temporary. They were tent hospitals. By the end of the Civil War, 4.5 years later, there are several 100,000 beds in permanent hospitals around this country when you combine the Confederate side, the Union side. So when you come here, you're gonna discover that some of the things you take for granted today, like a hospital being a place of healing and having specialized floors and wards, echelons of care, disaster response, when you see a mass casualty event on television, the system that is in place when you watch that on TV is what was invented during the Civil War.
As for the casualties, what did most soldiers die of?
2/3 died of disease. The camp life was the most dangerous place in the war. Many more died of disease than bullets. So out of 750,000, that means 500,000 died from common diseases like fevers, chickenpox, measles, but the #1 killer, diarrhea and dysentery.
Despite the saying all is fair in love and war, the Civil War was actually a humane war. Price says they were divided by conflict, united by compassion.
Both sides treated each other equally when it came to the wounded. Jonathan Letterman said, reason dictates that a wounded combatant is no longer my enemy. And it really was brother against brother. And that's why this museum has an international appeal. And I think they're intrigued by the fact that we have healed, for the most part, and that it really was a more humane war once you were wounded.
Very good. David Price, thank you so much with the National Museum of Civil War Medicine. It's here on East Patrick Street. It's really fascinating to learn more about this. And if you're a history buff, a Civil War history buff, you will want to have a visit here. Back to you.